cupcake is naked if it is without a case. So today we are going to be making Clive a lovely little felt case that he can slip into to make him feel more like an actual cupcake and not like a little demon that we've managed to create. Join me as we make some executive creative decisions and we try to figure out how to make a cupcake case for Clive. Okay, so the first step here is to make a pattern of our own because my printer's not big enough, now that I've enlarged Clive, to follow the pattern from the original book that we got this cupcake pattern from. So we're going to kind of improvise, adapt and overcome. But before we do, the obligatory disclaimer, I use a mixture of very professional and incredibly unprofessional methods when making my puppets or accessories for them. If you see something here today that works for you, that's fantastic. But if you see something that you just can't stand, that's fine as well. This is just how I make mine. With that said, essentially what I've got here is the original pattern that I used to make the bigger spherical part of him when I enlarged the pattern from our previous episodes. And then all I did was get my trusty blue thread because it's quite a nice big circle on either side, and it was great for getting this pattern here. As you can see, I've kind of cut and stuck a bit on the top that is all of these little round circles drawn together near each other so that we can get that wavy top of the cupcake case. Because Clive doesn't have a base, I don't really have anything perfect to measure from, so I have a couple of bowls from my cupboard and basically it's going to be a case of whichever one fits the case. That's what I'm going to use as the outline for my base. So here I've got two circles, and this bigger circle is the bowl and this smaller circle is this smaller bowl, and I'm going to test which one is going to be the right fit for my circumference bottom. I'm not good at maths at all, and I couldn't even begin to tell you how to work out the circumference of the bottom, so I'm going to guesstimate until we get something that kind of looks fine. I think this is also quite a good thing to do if you are pattern making yourself, because I quite like to cut and stick them together into the 3D form that they're going to take and test if that works before I put all the effort in putting them into fabric and making them. Because I'm not incredibly organised or knowledgeable, a lot of what I do is winging it, so I just want to check if when I do wing it, it will work well for me and not be a complete disaster. I'm going to begin just taping together my pattern here so that it's a spherical shape, and we can see if we plop him in, it's a bit snug. That is like the width of him, but I think that works quite well, and I can always maybe add an extra centimetre on the end or something, but I do think that that is along the right lines. I think also where his arms meet it, we might either have to strategically make sure there's a dip in the wave pattern or maybe just cut a little hole just in case that it kind of brushes up too much, but I think that's a good idea to go for. And then what I'm going to do is test each bottom, if you will, and I'm going to try, yeah, you see, I think immediately that is a bit too big. I think that's not going to work. I think the smaller bowl might be the answer. I think it's going to be the answer, so we're going to go with that. And now here is where I'm struggling, and I need your help to choose for me what route to go down visually, aesthetically, if you will. I've been putting it off because I don't really want to go and get more, though I think I might have to go and get more. I'll show you what I mean. Here, I've got a lovely selection of felts to use. Do you know, I just don't know what would suit him best. I wonder if we need a sort of lighter colour, because typically cupcake cases are quite light and airy anyway. And I just think something really dark like that, it's not really giving cupcake case. It's not really giving light and fun and airy. The only option that I did see as a potential possibility was this sort of colour. And I can't work out if it washes her, I'll show you, if it washes him out or it just might be a bit too much pink. I didn't want to do this and I didn't want it to come to this point, but I don't think I should compromise for my art. I think I'm going to have to take a trip out to Hobbycraft and get some more options. None of these are speaking to me and saying yes. So I'm going to pop out, get some more options, come back, and then you can help me decide and we'll go from there, shall we? I might take you with me actually, let's go. Okay, so I've just arrived at Hobbycraft because I'm a little bit unsure about what felt I want to use and what is actually going to go well with that pink colour. So I'm going to see what they've got and go from there. But I'm a Hobbycraft, let's go in. I was definitely thinking something like this for the candle, and this is the colour that I used for the original Clive. But in terms of case, I mean, basically I thought light is the way to go here because I think dark kind of just looks wrong. I don't know why, it just looks wrong, but I have got that dark pink that I'm thinking about because I'm going to need more than one sheet. I've got this baby blue here and I'm definitely going to use that for the candle, but I don't know if maybe if it had a matching cupcake case, whether that would look weird or not. We're going to have to see, but there's something maybe kind of chic about a matching cupcake case and a candle. I don't know. Okay, I have returned from the land of craft and I've brought some colours that I think are going to work a fair bit better. I got some extra dark pink just in case we take that route, but I've also got some baby blue. Now the thing about this is it's the same baby blue that's in Clive's candle, and I wanted to make the new candle in that colour no matter what, as a homage to the original Clive. And then as another option, I got a really nice sort of lilac-y colour, which I thought might complement him a bit better. Something just a bit lighter and more pastel and breezy. I'm not usually a pastel person, but I think in this scenario they're warranted. And then as a last resort, this is not going to work, I just know it, and I don't really know why I got it. I got the colour that I used to make the OG Clive. So Clive OG is made from this exact felt colour. So I went on my Instagram, gave out the options, and I asked you what you thought. So you're going to decide what colour we set forth with. Okay, baby blue. Baby blue is the reigning champion, and I'm quite happy with that actually, because I do think there's something about a matching candle to a case that will look really nice. Thank you so much for voting if you did, and if you want to be in the decision-making committee, follow me on Instagram, and the next one you can totally help decide. I think that's actually going to look really sweet. I do like that colour, and if I just get Clive up here, if you can imagine that candle a bit larger, I actually think a matching situation is really nice. I think what I'm going to do to try and keep it as whole as possible is draw as much of the pattern out as I can on one, and then the tiny bit of the rest of it on the other, so that we don't get one seam line there, one seam line there. We can kind of have a bit on the front that is as whole as it can be, if that makes any sense. I hugely recommend felt, by the way. It's super cheap, really versatile, and it's very, very easy to sew with. You don't need any seam lines, and it's the perfect thing to practice with if you are just getting into this world of creativity. So when we use felt, there is a front and a back to it, and the way you can tell is usually they chuck a sticker on the back, which is where I'm going to draw. You can see how it's a bit more sort of holy and flat, whereas the ruffly side is the front, and that's what we want to show off. So anytime you see a sticker on your slice of felt, that is usually the back. So I'm trying to fit as much as I can on the felt, and then I'm going to flip it over and draw a line where that is ending so that I know how much I've got to cut out on the other bit. And also I want to make sure as much as I can that there's a straight line between the sections and it's not like a jaggedy thing, because if I actually did fit the pattern as much as I could onto the felt, you'd get sort of like a jaggedy bit that you'd have to sort of work around. So I just want to make sure that the bit that I'm using is nice and flat. I'm going to get one of my brand new fabric pens. I've got a blue one, which is going to work perfect for this. Okay, so I've drawn out my pattern and now I'm going to cut it out. Take your time with it as we go around the bend. Felt is really nice and easy to cut through, so wherever you go, just be sure that you're getting the right place. And because it's felt, we don't need to leave a seam line or any gap allowance. You're totally free to draw and cut on this line here. I've cut out my first bit of pattern. I'm just going to have a little look. I think that might be quite cute. We're going to embellish it, by the way, with lovely little patterns. So I've got one part and then the other part, and they are going to combine just like that. I hope you can see. They're going to combine just like this, which basically means that we've got a bit of a longer thing that can go at the front, which won't have a seam line in it. And then at the back, we can have a bit more things going on. That is going to be fine for the back. And then this, you won't even see it. So the next step now is to sew this into a cylinder. And the way I'm going to do that is get a bit of thread that kind of best matches colour wise. I find when I'm working with felt, ideally the needle I'm using to sew with is quite small. The smaller the better, though I do have a poor habit of losing all of my needles and then stepping on them months later. But I think I found one that's small enough. The reason I say small enough is because sometimes felt isn't the strongest, and if you have a needle that's a bit too big, you can kind of either tear through it and the seam might fall away eventually, or it just makes it a bit weaker and makes the hole bigger over time. So I find the smaller the stabbing, the more likely that it is to stick together. I'm going to lay my pattern here like so, and I'm going to begin to stitch it. I think I'm just going to kind of go in and out, because this is going to be at the back and it's not going to be seen as much. But I'm just going to go in one side and out the other and rinse and repeat that all the way up this bit and all the way up the other bit as well. And then then I shall rejoin you. Okay, so I have sewn both bits together here. So we've got this kind of backing bit where the pattern was too long for the fabric, and then we've got this nice long bit at the front that's whole, so I'm going to put that on the front of him. I've also cut out the smaller circle that I've made, and I'm going to try and stitch that onto the bottom. But before I do that, I thought we could decorate it, and my thoughts are I've drawn and cut out a heart like this, and it's got kind of like one bigger side and one smaller side, and I'm going to kind of pattern them along, I think, all the way around. If you are for some reason making a cupcake, you can decorate your case however you want, but for me, I think on this occasion I'm just going to go like this. I think that looks really cute actually. I'll try and see if I can show you. Hang on. I think that's adorable. I think that's going to be absolutely adorable. So I've got some fabric glue here, and I might sew them on afterwards as well, just to give them a little bit of extra rigidity, but I'm definitely going to glue them in place so that they stay in place and don't move around. I'm just going to lift them up one by one and put a little bit of glue on the back of each heart, and then I'm going to place that down where I planned it to go. He's so scary and terrifying, and maybe adding more lovable items to him could turn the tide and we could grow to love his features. I'm just pressing them down and giving them a minute to sort of let themselves get tacky. I don't think I'll need to sew these as well actually, because this glue's quite good, and once I give them a minute to sort of set and get into place, I think we're going to be well on our way. I've kind of forgotten which ones I've glued. You know. Okay, and now while we let those dry and get tacky, I will add some to the back, but I can do that when it's one piece and on him. I'm now gonna start sewing this circle to the bottom of it and seeing if it's the right size and shape, because I don't know if it's gonna work or not, but we're in this together. I'm just about getting to the end of attaching this circle to the bottom of our case. Not to toot my own horn, but if I do say so myself, it might just be the perfect fit. I couldn't have planned it better, and I didn't plan it at all. So it's worked out pretty nicely actually. The question now is, will it fit? Because I might have just made it perfect for this, but not perfect for him. So we're going to have to see how this is going to translate. Okay, what do we think? What do we think? I think it's actually really adorable and really cute. I think I might end up stitching these hearts on just because it's fine. The glue is working, but my paranoia will set in if I don't attend to them. So I think I'll probably stitch them on in the future, but for now they're totally fine. I really like the colour. I think that's really cute, because I'm thinking that I make a candle in the same colourway as the original Clive, which just so happens to be the colourway that was chosen for the cupcake case. It's kind of tacky and sweet, and in that, with his deranged little eyes, I just think it sort of amalgamates into an absolute cursed demon, quite frankly. But what do you think? Let me know what you think. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy what you saw here today and you found it relaxing at all, then please subscribe and ring that bell so that you can be told when we next upload another session. Thank you so much again for joining me. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I hope he doesn't give you nightmares as he's now going to give me. Thank you so much again, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.